This podcast was produced using artificial intelligence and refined by human editors.
Hey there, Wanderlusters, and welcome to another globetrotting episode of Travel with Lara and Luca.
That's right, Luca. Buckle up, friends, because today we're heading to the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Ah, Vegas, a city of bright lights, endless nights, and stories just waiting to be told. I'm Luca, your fellow travel enthusiast and connoisseur of all things that glitter and gamble.
And I'm Lara, your sage of the travel scene, with an eye for hidden treasures and a palate for world-class cuisines.
So, in today's episode, we're going to take you through the pizzazz and the pazookas. Yes, that's right, pazookas of Las Vegas.
Expect the unexpected as we reveal Vegas's iconic sights, dive into its delicious cuisine, unearth some hidden gems.
And let's not forget the must-see places, weird facts galore, a slice of history, and our oh-so-handy expert travel tips.
Plus, we'll cap it off with some incredible side excursions you can take to enrich your Vegas vacation.
One could say we're like your personal Vegas concierges for the next 45 minutes.
Without the swanky uniforms, though, just comfy podcasting chairs and chatty attitudes.
Speaking of chat, do you remember the last time we landed in Sin City, Lara?
How could I forget? My luggage ended up in Los Angeles, not Las Vegas. But you know what they say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for my luggage, apparently.
That is tragic, but classic Vegas high roller style. You went shopping and came back looking like a starlet from a 60s movie about the Rat Pack.
Ah, the magic of retail therapy. But enough about my wardrobe mishaps. Shall we get this show on the road, or should I say the Strip?
Absolutely. Strap in, folks, as we chat about iconic Las Vegas sights that are truly larger than life in our first segment.
And trust us, with more neon than you can shake a glow stick at, it's going to be quite the luminous discussion.
But before we light up your ears with tales of the Strip, let's talk about what makes Las Vegas such an unforgettable destination, Lara.
You mean besides the 24/7 opportunity to win a fortune or see an Elvis impersonator at every corner?
Precisely. It's that Vegas is more than just glitz and gaming. It's an ever-evolving canvas where the world comes to play, create, and experience the unthinkable.
So folks, whether you're in it for the casinos, the Michelin star meals, or the secret spots away from the tourist traps, Las Vegas delivers.
And it delivers with the subtlety of a showgirl's headdress in a hurricane. But there's beauty in that spectacle, so much more than meets the eye.
Which is why we're here to guide you through it all, from the sweeping views atop the high roller to the tranquil gardens tucked away behind a busy casino floor.
Now, don't go pressing pause and booking your flight just yet. We're about to teleport you to Las Vegas with the magic of podcasting.
Imaginations ready? Okay, after this delightful introduction, we're zooming straight to
iconic sights, where we will spell out what makes Vegas' skyline one to behold. Get ready to marvel at architectural wonders and the stories behind them.
And after that, you'd better loosen your belt buckle a notch or two, because we've got the delicious ins and outs of Vegas cuisine coming your way.
That's right, Lara. Just thinking about it has made me hungry for more travel talk and maybe a snack.
All in good time, Luca. All in good time. But for now, let's delve right into the heart of Las Vegas, starting with the one and only Strip.
You know it as the strip of road, lined with the most glamorous hotels and casinos in the world. But we know it as the launching pad for every Las Vegas adventure.
So come along, let's saunter down this neon-lit promenade and unwrap the city of lights, one dazzling story at a time. Iconic sights of Las Vegas. Let's light up the night with the Strip, shall we, Luca?
You can't talk Vegas without the Strip, Lara. It's like talking Paris without the Eiffel Tower. Remember the first time your eyes caught those neon signs?
How could I forget? It felt like stepping into a high-voltage dream. And speaking of dreams, do you recall our walk along the Bellagio fountains?
Who hasn't dreamed of that Ocean's 11 moment? Every time those fountains dance, it's like Vegas is waving hello to the world.
I still get chills, Luca. There's something timeless about it amidst all the flash and frenzy.
Timeless is the right word, and yet let's not forget the behemoths of gambling and glamour, the casinos, the Bellagio, Caesar's Palace, the Venetian.
Oh, the architecture alone, each a kingdom with a tale as tall as their towers. Remember sneaking into Caesar's palace like we were Roman royalty?
Royalty with a penchant for penny slots. But truly, it's an empire of entertainment there. You step inside and history blends with fantasy.
And then there's the Mirage, with its own erupting volcano, a spectacle of fire in the middle of the desert. Almost poetic, don't you think?
A vivid contradiction. Water shows at the Bellagio, fire shows at the Mirage. It's Vegas doing what it does best, defying expectations in the most theatrical way.
Every show is a story, like that time you met that couple at the fountain show, both from different sides of the world, coincidentally in Vegas.
Ah, yes, and the fountains playing their love song, as if the universe conspired to bring them together right there.
Makes you believe in the magic of this city, a place where anything can happen, and usually does.
Speaking of magic, should we wander over to the Luxor? No other place you'd find a giant pyramid beam light into the sky.
A beacon for all who come to seek fortune, or just a darn good time. I mean, only in Las Vegas can you travel from Egypt to New York in the time it takes to walk a few blocks.
That's the beauty of it. 1 minute you're with the pharaohs, the next you're watching Lady Liberty, all while never leaving the oasis of the desert.
And isn't it something how every casino has its own unique pull, like the Venetian with its canals, a slice of Italy right there on the Strip?
Those gondolas get me every time. But hey, don't forget about Paris, Las Vegas. I know you have a soft spot for their replica Eiffel Tower.
Climbing up there, looking down on the Strip, it's hard not to fall in love with the city all over again and under the stars.
Stars that twinkle with a bit of a neon glow. There's a charm to it, swept up in all that glitz.
Which brings us to the neon. Can we have a moment of appreciation for the art that is the Las Vegas neon sign?
It's what guides you through the night here. Each sign an arrow to adventure. I mean, the Welcome to Fabulous Las Vegas sign, culturally iconic.
It's like the city's emblem. Every time I see it, I know the trip's well and truly started.
Trips that are always too short, no matter how long you stay. But that's Vegas for you, always leaving you wanting more.
Wanting more, and at times leaving you wandering in wonder at the grandeur of the aria or the detail in the Cosmopolitan.
Every corner a discovery, every discovery a promise of return. That's the pledge of the Strip and its iconic wonders.
And it's not just the sights that enchant, it's the smells, the aroma of world-class cuisine that leads you by the nose to the next great meal.
An excellent point, Lara. Speaking of which, shall we tempt our listeners with a taste of what's to come?
Absolutely. Next up, we'll serve you the delicious side of Vegas. From five-star dining to food trucks, Las Vegas is a smorgasbord of the senses.
Foodies and feast seekers, stick with us. We're about to dish out the most mouth-watering segment you'll find this side of the Strip.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with sides of stories to pair with your culinary curiosity. Saddle up, listeners, because we're about to embark on a sumptuous journey through Las Vegas's unparalleled dining scene.
That's right, Lara. Think of Vegas, and while your mind might wander to slot machines and poker tables, I'd wager a bet that the real jackpot lies in the food.
Oh, absolutely, Luca. The Strip alone is a smorgasbord of all the world's cuisines, packed into a few glittering miles.
And let's not forget the off-strip eateries. But let's start with the heavy hitters. What's your top high-end dining experience?
I must tip my hat to a French restaurant in the Bellagio, a dance of flavors in every bite, and the view of the fountains just elevates the whole experience.
For me, it's all about the Italian luxury dining at the Venetian. Imagine being serenaded by a gondolier as you slice into a truffle-topped pasta.
Speaking of pasta, remember that one time we decided to find the best carbonara in Vegas?
Do I ever? We must have hit, 6 places? But that little spot, hidden away behind the neon lights of a souvenir shop, was the true winner.
And Luca, didn't you dare the chef to make it extra Italian?
In my defense, that only made it tastier. But let's talk celebrity chefs. Vegas is swarming with them. What's your take?
Oh, it's theatrical, isn't it? Dining becomes a show in itself. For instance, when we ate at that place by Chef Ramsay, the beef Wellington was a performance.
True, I'm still dreaming about that perfect pastry crust. But let's turn the page from pricey to practical. Your budget-friendly faves?
Tacos. Tacos all the way. There's this little truck. Might look unassuming, but they've mastered the art of delicious on a dime.
Not to derail the taco train, but I'll raise you one with the all-you-can-eat sushi spots. Quality sashimi without breaking the bank, and I still hold the record for most pieces eaten in one sitting. Thank you very much.
You're a sushi savant, what can I say? But while taste is vital, so is ambiance. Nothing beats eating street food while soaking in the Vegas vibe.
Absolutely. And for those who aren't rolling in casino winnings, let's shine a light on some mid-range must-tries.
For that, I adore the diners that offer a view of the Strip without the accompanying price tag. Great for people watching too.
Oh, people watching in Vegas is a sport in itself. But what about those hidden gems? Ever strayed from the Strip for a bite?
Well, I once found a Thai place that was so authentic, I felt transported to Bangkok with each bite of their pad Thai.
I'm still hung up on that Korean barbecue joint we stumbled upon. Cook your own feast right at the table. It was communal. It was delicious. It was hands-on.
We can't cover Vegas cuisine without mentioning the buffets. Tour de force of variety, wouldn't you say?
Indeed, it's an edible exploration, from prime rib to crab legs, all the way to French pastries.
And the beauty of the Vegas buffet, it's an equalizer. Where else can you see a high roller and a Vegas first-timer sharing a toast over unlimited shrimp?
The great buffet democracy. Now, let's put on our critic hats. Any culinary fads in Vegas you'd like to see retired?
Tough one. I'd say excessively flamboyant foods. The kind that looks better on Instagram than on your taste buds.
Yes, food should taste as good as it looks, not the other way around. And how about a trend we should see more of?
I'm voting for more farm-to-table spots. There's something to be said about simplicity and fresh ingredients, even in the land of excess.
Could not agree more. Local and fresh elevate a meal from good to unforgettable.
Before we wrap up, let's indulge in a quick-fire round. Most underrated cuisine in Vegas?
Filipino. There's magic happening in those pots and pans.
Best sweet treat.
Gelato, made by an Italian maestro right before your eyes.
And last one, best place for a nightcap?
How about that rooftop bar with the panoramic view of the city? Can't beat that backdrop.
And with those mouth-watering thoughts, it's time for us to say a bientôt to this segment.
Stay with us, folks. Up next, we'll uncover Sin City's hidden gems, the local haunts, back alleys, and secret venues you'd miss in a blink, if not for us, your trusted travel companions. Ah, the City of Lights, where the usual suspects have had their fair share of fame. But here we go, diving into the less illuminated corners of Las Vegas. We're talking about hidden gems.
Illuminated corners, dear Luca? More like the illuminating experiences that don't need a marquee to shine. You know, it's kind of like looking for that rare vinyl in a record shop.
Perfect analogy. And speaking of records, Vegas isn't all about playing them. It has a distinct rhythm of its own in the Arts District. Have you been, Lara?
Oh, absolutely. It's like stumbling into this creative enclave where the smell of paint is as palpable as the excitement. The First Friday festival they hold there is basically an art lover's dream.
It's infectious, isn't it? You've got food trucks, artists, musicians. It's culture with a capital C, and not enough people know that side of Vegas.
Culture with a capital C and charm with a capital CH, I'd say. The little boutiques there are treasure troves. Remember that vintage scarf I found?
How could I forget? It suited you better than Gin Suits Tonic. Speaking of which, there's also the Antique Alley, miles of unique finds and vintage goodies.
Oh, those shops with their quirky knickknacks. You almost feel like you've been transported to a different era. And then, if you're anything like me, you end up imagining the lives of the people who owned those items before.
Lara getting sentimental about a 1950s cocktail shaker. I saw that coming. And another gem is the quirky neon boneyard, where all the old Las Vegas signs go to retire.
Ah, the Neon Museum, an absolute must-see. Standing amongst those towering signs is like walking with giants of a bygone age. It's very poetic.
Giants of a bygone age, dare I add, giants that glow? It's like a neon forest. You half expect a neon owl to hoot at you from a neon tree.
A neon owl, that's a hoot, Luca. But let's not forget those elusive speakeasies dotted around the city, adding an intoxicating whisper of the 1920s to the mix.
Shh, we can't be too loud about the speakeasies, can we? They're secrets for a reason. But there is a particular joy in finding a nondescript door and stepping into a hidden world of crafted cocktails and jazz.
My lips are sealed, partner. And how about the art installations that pop up around town? Some of them are quite ephemeral, almost like catching a shooting star.
Exactly, like that one installation we found in the middle of an ordinary neighborhood, a burst of color and light that was gone the next week. Magical.
It's these ephemeral moments that make Vegas so enigmatic. But for those looking for a longer-lasting serene spot, the healing garden created to honor the victims of the 2017 tragedy is incredible.
True, it embodies Vegas' resilient spirit, beauty from pain. Not to bring down the mood, but it's an important piece of the heart of Vegas that locals and visitors should experience.
And talking about bringing the mood back, there's nothing like a good discovery. Have you told them about the time you found that hidden garden filled with sculptures, Luca?
You mean the one behind that little gallery off Main Street? That was unexpected. One moment I'm sipping a latte, the next I'm amidst avant-garde sculptures that would make Salvador Dali raise an eyebrow.
Artistic eyebrows were raised indeed, the blend of industrial and natural elements in that space, so unique, especially for Vegas.
Speaking of unique, there are also those tiny wedding chapels where you might just walk in on an Elvis impersonator officiating a wedding.
That's something you don't see every day, unless you're in Vegas. Each chapel has its own character, be it kitschy or unexpectedly elegant.
Vegas's charm is that it always keeps you on your toes. We could spend hours uncovering these gems for our listeners, but alas, we must move on.
And move on we shall, because up next, we've got must-see places for you all. No, we're not just talking about the usual haunts, but places that truly embody the spirit of Las Vegas.
Places that make you say, now I've seen it all, until, of course, you turn the next corner. Stay tuned to hear about them.
So, we're diving into the must-see places in Las Vegas now, the spots that just scream, you're in Vegas, baby!
Oh, absolutely. And you know you can't talk about Vegas without starting with the heart of it all, the historic downtown and Fremont Street experience.
That's the original Vegas, right? The Fremont Street experience with that massive LED canopy showing off dazzling lights, such an iconic sight.
Exactly. And it's not just about the lights. There's this energetic vibe, street performers, and of course the zip line under the canopy. You ever tried that, Lara?
I did, and let me tell you, flying over the crowds with the neon below was like something out of a superhero movie.
I bet you pretended to be Super Lara, defending the world from boredom.
Naturally. And the street performers, there's something else. There was this one guy, Luca, painted entirely in silver. I swear he didn't blink for an hour.
Was that a street performer or a mannequin challenge gone very, very long?
I guess we'll never know.
It's that unpredictability that makes downtown a must-see. But let's step away from the mannequins and talk about natural beauty. Red Rock Canyon, Lara, blows my mind every time.
The contrast is startling, isn't it? One minute you're surrounded by slot machines, and the next it's these towering red cliffs and miles of open sky.
It shows Vegas isn't just a one-trick pony. I mean, those hiking trails, rock climbing spots, and scenic drives are something you expect to find on a different planet, not 20 minutes from a roulette table.
Speaking of other planets, have you seen some of the luxury hotel suites around here? I walked through one. It was like a spaceship with its own butler. For those who love opulence, it doesn't get much better than Vegas luxury experiences.
I did a tour of the villas once. I asked the guide where they keep the golden goose. They didn't find it as humorous as I thought it was.
And that's why you're not a villa butler, my friend.
Probably for the best. But for our listeners who enjoy a taste of the finer things, even if just for a night, Vegas delivers that by the truckload.
Speaking of delivering, Las Vegas is always reinventing itself, isn't it? Remember when the Bellagio first opened? It was a game changer.
That it was. The elegance, the art, the fountains. It was as if Las Vegas built its own Versailles.
With slot machines.
Naturally, with slot machines. And since we're talking must-see spots, you've got the art scene, which has exploded in recent years. I love the Bellagio Gallery of Fine Art.
I do too, Luca. It's like this oasis of tranquility with masterpieces from some of the world's greatest artists, adding that bit of culture to the sin of the city.
If you can call it sin these days, it's more like Indulgence City. And speaking of indulgence, remember when we checked out the high roller observation wheel? That view.
Oh yes. Can you believe it's the largest in the world? Las Vegas doesn't do anything by halves, does it?
Not at all. That ride lets you see everything. The Strip, the mountains, even the airplanes coming into land. It's a peaceful experience amid all the buzz, which is a rare find in Vegas, let's be honest.
It is. And how can we forget the must-see shows? They're literally everywhere, from resident superstars to the magic and acrobatic spectacles.
The talent is unreal. Singers, magicians, dancers, and trust me, Lara, I've tried dancing like those guys in Jubilee, and it's not for me.
I'm sure there's video of that attempt somewhere, and I need to find it. For research purposes, of course.
Let's maybe leave that lost to history. So, ladies and gentlemen, pack your most comfortable shoes because the must-see places of Vegas demand some serious exploration time.
Comfort and style. All right, that's a wrap on the most dazzling must-see places in Vegas. Next up, we have something that'll intrigue your curious minds. The weird, the wacky, the wonderful facts about Vegas that will have you raising an eyebrow or both.
That's what's coming up in our next segment, where things are going to get a little unusual.
Welcome back, fellow explorers. You've landed in the segment where Las Vegas gets wonderfully weird.
That's right. We're about to journey through some of the oddest facts and tales this city has to offer. Ever heard the one about Vegas basements, Lara?
Oh, you're starting with a classic. You know, despite the rumor, Las Vegas homes actually can have basements. It's not common due to the hard Kalish soil, but it's not because of mobsters and their past activities.
Yeah, I bet someone out there was already imagining a speakeasy under every desert lawn. But speaking of underground, did you ever visit the underground house?
Ah, the infamous underground bunker home, yes. A 1970s relic, a full house with a lawn and pool, 26 feet underground, designed for luxurious doomsday living.
Vegas does luxury, even in the face of a hypothetical nuclear apocalypse. Now let's take a turn toward the truly bizarre. Remember learning about the casino for the undead?
Casa de Shenandoah? Absolutely. Wayne Newton's former residence turned museum. They had plans for a casino night for the dearly departed. Unique, but never came to be. A nod to Vegas's love for the dramatic and the dead, I guess?
It's the only place where Elvis can still be king, and also, possibly, a zombie.
True. Also, that brings me to the time I discovered the Black Book, which is not as spooky as it sounds, but it's Vegas's list of people banned from all casinos.
Not exactly the VIP list you want to be on, and it's officially called the List of Excluded Persons. This city takes its gaming seriously.
And speaking of serious gaming, want to know what weighs the same as 340 jumbo jets?
Vegas trivia never ceases to amaze. Enlighten me.
Well, that would be the amount of coins slotted through slot machines each year. Imagine that.
They say Vegas wasn't built on winners, but with that many coins, there've got to be a couple of chocolate coins mixed in accidentally.
Haha, right? Now let's march to the rhythm of a Vegas heartbeat, wedding chapels. Did you know there's a 24-hour drive-through wedding chapel here?
For those who adore their car almost as much as their partner. Till low gas, do us part.
It's one of those only in Vegas things, isn't it? But not as weird as the fact that Las Vegas has the highest number of unlisted phone numbers in the US. Privacy is king.
I wonder if it's celebs hiding from the paparazzi or magicians guarding their secrets.
Speaking of secrets, how about the fact that the Las Vegas Strip isn't actually in Las Vegas?
Yes, the world-famous Strip is technically located in the unincorporated townships of Paradise and Winchester. Tourism slogan twist. What happens in Paradise stays on the Strip.
Paradise, huh? More like a neon mirage. But even mirages have real attractions, like the Pinball Hall of Fame, a place where you can flip and tilt through the ages.
Truly a place where you can spring back in time. Their oldest machine dates back to the 1940s. Who knew the sound of a pinball machine could sound so poignant?
Just like the sound of coins hitting the metal tray in a slot machine, a sound that's disappearing. Because did you know modern slot machines don't spill out coins anymore?
True, it's all about paper vouchers. There's a weird and somewhat disappointing satisfaction in not hearing the clanging of a jackpot win.
From coins to cocktails, did you know Las Vegas consumes more than 60,000 pounds of shrimp daily? That's more than the rest of the nation combined.
That's a shell of a lot of shrimp cocktails. Bon appetit, Vegas.
Speaking of appetite, I've got one more weird fact for you before we roll to the next segment. Luca, have you ever noticed there are no clocks in the casinos?
Thoughtful design or conspiracy to keep players in the dark. Quite literally.
Or a timeless bubble where night and day merge into one long Vegas moment. But even in a city without clocks, time flies, especially when sharing the peculiar corners of Vegas.
Indeed, and time has flown us right to the end of this segment, but fret not. The next one is all about digging through the historic vault of this shimmering city.
That's right, we're peeling back the neon layers to reveal Sin City's past in our next segment, History. Trust me, it's not your average history lesson.
Join us as we explore the stories and events that shaped the Las Vegas we know and love today. Stay tuned.
Stepping into the time machine for this one, Luca. Today, we're delving deep into the annals of Las Vegas's history.
Ah, indeed, Lara. A city that sprang from the desert sands like an opulent mirage.
It's hard to believe, but the Vegas we know today began as a humble railroad town, right?
Absolutely. In 1905, Las Vegas was officially founded as a railroad town and was even part of the Lincoln Highway, the first transcontinental highway in the U.S.
So the city that's now known for flights and fancy was quite the hotbed for trains and travel then.
Trains, travel, and water. Don't forget the artesian wells that made living in the desert possible.
Ah, water, the true lifeblood of the desert. And then came the boom in the 1930s. The reason? One big, colossal dam project.
The Hoover Dam. Thousands flocked to the area seeking work during the Great Depression.
And what's work without a little play, right? Enter the casinos.
Absolutely. You know, it wasn't until 1931 that gambling was legalized in Nevada. Talk about perfect timing.
And that's when the first official casino was born, the Paradise on Highway 91.
But it's the Flamingo that many remember. Opened in 1946 by Bugsy Siegel, and boy did it set a precedent for the glitz and glamour Vegas is known for.
Siegel, the notorious mobster. It's incredible how much the mob has influenced Vegas's growth.
Many of today's mega resorts can be traced back to mob investments. It's like Vegas wouldn't be Vegas without the, let's just say, the unsavory entrepreneurs of the past.
The seedy underbelly that gave us the City of Lights. And how can we ignore the Rat Pack's influence through the 50s and 60s?
Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. They turned Vegas into the entertainment capital of the world. The Sands was practically their HQ, wasn't it?
The Copa Room at the Sands saw more cool cats than a pet shop with a jazz band.
Nice one, Lara. And as the Rat Pack wowed the crowds, the rest of the city wasn't napping. Enter the 70s, and the era of the mega casinos began.
The original MGM Grand, now Bally's, was the largest hotel in the world at the time. Big was in.
Go big or go home became the unofficial motto of the desert. In the 80s, it was the Mirage's turn to stun everyone.
Oh, the Mirage. It completely redefined luxury in Vegas. I mean, they even had Siberian tigers.
Let's not forget the Eruption, a man-made volcano that set the bar for Vegas spectacles.
The 90s was all about families, right? You couldn't move for kid-friendly attractions and theme hotels.
From the pirate battles at Treasure Island to the advent of the Excalibur, Vegas was like a playground for all ages.
Until it wasn't. By the time the new millennium rolled around, Vegas was once again a playground, but this time mainly for adults.
The Bellagio's fountains, the Venetian's canals, the Wynn's elegance, a focus on luxury and adult entertainment.
And now Vegas keeps reinventing itself, from nightclubs to Cirque du Soleil to high-end shopping experiences.
So from a desert watering hole to the entertainment capital of the world.
A city ever reshaped by the needs and whims of its guests, displaying a history as colorful and intricate as the neon lights on its streets.
Well put, Lara. And speaking of colorful expressions, in our next segment, we'll share some expert travel tips that can make or break your Vegas experience.
Whether you're rolling the dice or hitting the strip, knowing how to navigate Sin City is key.
So stick around for our insider knowledge to make your Vegas vacation a royal flush.
And we swing back around to the practical side of Vegas. It's time for some of our expert travel tips.
Ah, the meat and potatoes of travel talk. Let's kick off with getting around. Walking the strip seems easy, but it's actually miles long.
True, those hotel casinos are deceptive. They look close, but it's quite a hike.
Been there, done that, got the blisters. Luckily, there's the monorail, which runs from MGM Grand to Sahara, Las Vegas.
Great for saving those feet. Plus there's the Deuce, the double-decker bus that runs 24/7.
They do make it easy to avoid rental cars. Speaking of which, parking fees can be a sneaky add-on at most resorts.
Absolutely. So my tip is to check for hotels with free parking if you do bring a car.
Right, because nothing stings like unnecessary fees. Oh, and for those who thrive on convenience, ride shares are abundant.
But peak times can mean surge pricing, so budget for that or wait it out with a show or a bite.
Let's not forget the best show in town, the people. Just watching the sidewalk is free entertainment.
Ha! Can't beat that. Now, when should our dear listeners roll into this desert jewel?
Las Vegas in July is like being in a hairdryer. For a more pleasant experience, March to May and September to November are prime.
Agreed. Cooler weather and fewer crowds. Plus, pool season, which is a big draw, is usually from March to October.
Definitely. Off-season travel can mean better deals on rooms and shows too.
It's also about timing within the week, right? Midweek visits can save on accommodation.
Weekday warriors, that's the way to be. Hotels that cost an arm and a leg on Friday can be a fraction of the price on Tuesday.
Let's not forget the comps and players clubs for the gamblers out there.
They're not just for high rollers. Sign up for players cards, and even a little slot play can get you discounts.
Now for the hacks on saving some serious cash. Dining can be a fortune, but it doesn't have to be.
Tell me about it. My favorite is hitting up the happy hours. Some of the best spots have deals on food and drinks early evening.
And you've told me about your secret love affair with the buffets.
Not so secret now. Buffets can be a bargain, especially if you go for a late lunch and it rolls into dinner.
My version of a buffet is food courts. They've come a long way and offer some gourmet choices at a fraction of a sit-down restaurant.
Speaking of, don't forget off-strip eateries. There's often better value and equally delicious food without the strip's premium.
True, I've had some of my best meals in those hidden nooks. Saving doesn't stop at food, though.
Right. Let's talk shows. Buying tickets at those booths on the strip on the day of can snag you a bargain.
And sightseeing. The free attractions like the Bellagio fountains or the Mirage volcano don't cost a thing, and they're amazing.
Now, one more advanced tip, the power of the concierge. They can work wonders, from show tickets to hard-to-get reservations.
Indeed, a good concierge is like Vegas gold. Just remember, a nice tip for them goes a long way.
And while we're on money matters, let's not forget to set a gambling budget. It's very easy to get carried away.
Absolutely. Decide what you're comfortable losing ahead of time and stick to it.
The old ATM in the casino is never your friend situation.
And remember, it's not just about gaming or shows. Saving a day for the pool, shopping, or sightseeing can give your wallet a rest.
Which is perfect, because next, we'll delve deeper into what lies beyond the strip with some incredible side excursions.
Oh, I'm charged up for that. There's a whole world out there waiting for our listeners, just a short drive away.
Exactly. So stay tuned as we take you from the neon lights to the starlit nights in our next segment.
All right, adventurers. After that fascinating dive into travel tips, it's time to spread our wings beyond the strip. This segment is all about side excursions around Las Vegas.
You can't miss the Grand Canyon when you're in Vegas. It's like visiting Paris and not seeing the Eiffel Tower.
Exactly, Luca. The Grand Canyon's majesty is overwhelming, but it's the journey there that starts the adventure. That drive or helicopter ride showcases the dramatic change in scenery.
Helicopter rides offer that bird's eye view, but driving lets you feel that gradual buildup of excitement. Each mile you eat up on the road is like a slow reveal to a natural masterpiece.
And there's something poetic about watching the barren desert transform into one of the world's most astonishing natural wonders.
talking about wonders, did you ever make it out to the Hoover Dam?
Oh, yes. The scale of human achievement there almost competes with nature's work at the canyon. But then it makes you think, we're pretty amazing creatures to build something like that.
For sure, there's a feeling of pride you get, standing atop the dam, looking down at the Colorado River, knowing this was constructed during the Great Depression.
Absolutely, it's a testament to resilience. Now let's get off the beaten path a bit. I took a trek to Death Valley last year, and wow!
Death Valley, the name itself deters some people, but it's strikingly beautiful in its harshness, isn't it?
Yes, extreme conditions crafting extreme beauty. Badwater Basin puts you at the lowest elevation in North America. It feels like another planet.
And speaking of other planets, how about that extraterrestrial highway? Nevada is alien central after all.
Haha, perfect for the conspiracy theorists or just a quirky road trip destination. Get your picture with the ET highway sign. Search for UFOs.
Imagine a flying saucer souvenir to bring back from your Vegas trip. But for those who prefer something less out of this world, Mount Charleston is a lovely retreat.
You're talking about a scenic hike in summer or hitting the ski slopes in winter, just an hour from the heat of the city.
Such a contrast to the Vegas stereotype. Most people don't pack a winter coat for their Vegas trip.
They'll miss out then. The views up there have a tranquil quality that Vegas's neon can't replicate.
Speaking of tranquility, there's the Valley of Fire State Park. Didn't you say it was like walking through a flame-colored dreamscape?
Oh, Luca, it's stunning. Those rock formations seem like they've been pulled straight from myth, ancient yet alive.
Makes you feel small, doesn't it? Reminds you there's a whole world out there beyond the roulette wheels and poker tables.
It really does. And just outside the clamor of the casinos, you have the chance to see another kind of local life.
Oh, are you talking about Boulder City? The town that was built for the workers on the Hoover Dam and managed to retain its charm all these years?
Exactly. It's the anti-Vegas in a way. No gambling there. Just cozy cafes, little boutiques, and a slower pace of life.
I love that Boulder City respects its history. It's a living museum, but without the do not touch signs.
And speaking of touching history, remember the time we found those fossils at Tule Springs?
Yes, I couldn't believe we were looking at traces of mammoths. Prehistoric Vegas must have been quite the hotspot, too.
From neon to nature to the dawn of time, Vegas and its surroundings have layers like a decadent dessert.
Now I'm hungry for some more travel tales. Shall we tie this segment with a bow and hint at what's waiting for our listeners next?
We shall. We've roamed from lofty peaks to the depths of the valley, and we hope we've inspired your sense of exploration.
We invite you to look beyond the lights on your next visit. Step out of the shadows of those towering casinos and into the sunlight of the great outdoors.
It's time to bring this segment to a close, but don't step away from us yet. Stay tuned for our concluding segment, where we will share some final thoughts and a sneak peek into our next journey.
Buckle up, because we're landing our Vegas extravaganza with personal reflections and, of course, a few laughs.
And just like the grand finale of a spectacular Vegas show, we have reached the end of today's extravagant journey through Sin City.
Lara, hasn't it been something? We've danced with the ghosts of the iconic Strip, savored the unbelievable cuisine, uncovered the hidden gems, and basked in the glitz of must-see places.
Oh, the places we've been, Luca. And the weird facts. I mean, who else but us could chat about the truth behind those Vegas myths or the strangest attractions we've come across?
It's true, we've had quite the adventure today. But let's not forget the rich history we unwrapped. It really puts the city's neon lights into perspective when you realize how deep Vegas's roots actually go.
So deep. And of course, we served up those expert travel tips that only the savviest of travelers, like our dear listeners and, well, ourselves, would know.
Naturally, because what's a trip to Vegas without knowing how to navigate it like a pro? Or better yet, like a local, which I think we basically qualify for at this point.
Oh, definitely. Speaking of locals, we went beyond Vegas with those side excursions. The Grand Canyon, local towns, hidden retreats. There's a whole world out there when you step off the Strip.
I'm game for those side trips any day. It's the perfect way to detox from Vegas's sensory overload before jumping back in for more.
So Luca, what did you find most surprising in today's chat? For me, it was revisiting how diverse Vegas really is. It's not just gambler's paradise, it's an artistic haven, a foodie's dream, and nature's playground, all rolled into one.
And let's not forget, Lara, it's our playground too. But you're right, the diversity is staggering. For me, it was the hidden gems that got me. Vegas has this reputation, but there's so much more beneath the surface, don't you think?
Absolutely. And isn't that what makes travel so amazing? That constant unraveling of a place, like peeling away layers to find more and more treasures.
Treasures indeed. But alas, dear travelers, it's time for us to pack up our bags for today. As you leave us, remember that Vegas, with all its stories and splendors, is waiting for you to write your own chapter in its ever-growing history.
And we'll be right here when you get back, ready to guide you to another spectacular destination. Now, Luca, our listeners must be curious about where we're heading next.
Oh, they must be. Can you give us a hint, Lara? Or are we keeping it wrapped up like the best-kept secret in Area 51?
Well, I won't spill all the beans, but let's just say it's a place where ancient tradition dances with cutting-edge technology, a city of lights that rivals even Vegas.
A city of lights with ancient roots? Now, that's a riddle to ponder. It's been an absolute pleasure sharing our love for Vegas with you all, and we can't wait to reveal our next destination.
Until then, Vegas may have our hearts, but the world has our curiosity. Don't forget to bring your sense of wonder.
And your best walking shoes. This has been Travel with Lara and Luca, and as the saying goes, what happens on this podcast definitely should not stay on this podcast. Share it with all your friends and fellow travel enthusiasts.
Stay adventurous, stay curious, and tune in next time for another episode filled with excitement, discoveries, and of course, our endless banter.
Goodbye for now, but never for long.